Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Pragmatic Optimists. I am State Senator Tiara Mack, and I'm joined by attorney Rachel Cohen. And I can't speak today because my brain is just as shut down as the U.S. government. Today is Today is October 1st, and as of 12:01 a.m., the government has officially shut down because the Republican-led White House, Congress, and Senate could not come together and decide not to defund our health care for millions of Americans, raise premiums by an average of 114%, or prevent massive cuts in the millions or billions of dollars to SNAP, which is key critical food programs to make sure that kids and families don't go starving. So, Rachel, how are you feeling about what we knew would all happen, government shutdown, and who is really to blame? Because I've seen Republicans, as you probably have, we've seen the push notification from HUD, try to blame it on the Democrats. But as I said in our opening, we don't really have the power right now.
I am feeling this is its own thing and probably not like a fun little witty back and forth, but Tiara and I are running around like chickens with our heads cut off today. And so did not have the chance for our usual yap. So you just get to see it on here. But during the recording, I've noticed that I'm starting to feel really, really like calm all the time in fight or flight mode, which doesn't feel like a good sign. I must say it feels a little bit like a trauma response. And I can't imagine like people that are living more directly impacted and with significantly less power than you or I, how it must feel to go on the day to day. Like ICE is breaking doors down in Chicago. They're grabbing people in the middle of the night. The government is shutting down. And I think that personally, at least, I just have to accept that like I cannot be shocked by every single thing that is happening. But I think where that gets really dangerous, because otherwise it's unsustainable to like be alive. But I think where that gets really dangerous is when we start to like accept these things as normal. And that is what I'm striving not to do. Like, okay, the government shutdown is something that has happened before. My parents were both government attorneys, and I remember them being furloughed when I was in high school. And I think under the Obama administration, because of Republicans doing the same thing. And so that can be normal. But what is so abnormal, and something I know we've been harping about on here, but it's because it's really important, is the government just fucking lying. Like the government just sending out push notifications and using all of its power to not just lie, but to propagandize and to like double down on those lies and to convince people that a totally different version of reality is what's happening. And I think that one of the things that like some of this is just the way that we allowed news for profit to proliferate in this country. And so to have there be no enforcement or punishment or fact checking or correction when people were just coming on and saying things that were untrue on Fox News. And so this whole ecosystem has been built out. But I have 2 points that I want to make before I turn it back to you for us to talk about like impacts of the government's shutdown and the media literacy that we've been talking about quite a bit on here. Number one is that it's easy to say that this is just Fox News, but people who follow me on my personal socials know that I have been in deep beef with the New York Times for some time, over probably people that follow me on here too that have ever watched us. We've definitely talked about this before. Not just for their coverage of things like Gaza and like the border. I found their reporting to be really irresponsible on immigration as well, but something that they're doing now that I've been talking about a lot and filmed a hot take about is that they take these anonymous sources or they take what Donald Trump says coming out of the White House and they report it as fact, often with like a push notification. So a really big example is yesterday, I have talked about this before. Donald Trump has been trying to push for Harvard to pay him $500 million to get their federal funding back. And Donald Trump has had his administration leak that number. They've had the administration leak details about what's happening in these conversations. And then there has been on-campus reporting at Harvard saying that's not true, that though there are negotiations happening, there might even be a settlement. The $500 million number was totally fabricated by the Trump administration. And the New York Times ran another headline about it yesterday. And ultimately, if what happens is that Donald Trump now digs his heels in and says, I'm not doing anything but $500 million, it's going to be really hard. Harvard now cannot get a settlement, and I don't think they should enter a settlement at all. But even if they wanted to, as opposed to going to litigation, they can't get one for less than $500 million because the New York Times keeps reporting that number. So now Donald Trump is going to view it as a loss if he doesn't get $500 million, and Harvard knows that. And it's just incredibly irresponsible reporting. So I think that we all want to say that everybody else's news sources are propagandized or biased or not being thoughtful. And I think the nice thing about things like Midas and other kind of independent commentary sources like this, or like Popak is a news service where he does like the breaking filings and stuff. At least here, it's not like we're hiding the fucking ball. Like, we hate Donald Trump. And so you know that you're getting that bias. And within the organization, people have a wide variety of views, which I'm really grateful for, but we're on this foundational baseline. The issue is that Donald Trump, coming out of the US government, you now also have that baseline where he's like, he just fucking hates everybody who's not him. So that's point number one. Number two is that I think it's just worth remembering that it's not like it's so easy to overcome propaganda or anything else, but I sometimes do take some optimism, to give you some before I kick it back to you. I sometimes do take some optimism from realizing just how deliberately misinformed many, many people in this country are because of news sources that are lying to them. And I think that it starts to feel like they have these hateful views because they are just like people that we will never, ever be able to reach because they are just really bad people. And I am sure that some of those people exist, but I think that there's a huge swath of the country where they are getting force-fed lies. And so the things that they are landing on and the views of the world that they have that they are landing on are not justifiable. Like, you have your library, you have like whatever, but even the internet is, if they're searching, is deliberately feeding them lies. And so that can feel really overwhelming, because how do we counter that? But I do think at the end of the day, if you really scratch the surface, maybe not scratch it, if you cut through the surface, that's pretty optimistic, because I think those people can be moved. So that's my take on this. And I would love to hear if this drives you more like media literacy conversation, or more impacts of the government shutdown conversation, or a secret third thing that we did not talk about in advance.
Oh, a secret third option. I mean, there are so many threads that I want to pull. Like, we could also talk about the Ezra Klein, Ta-Nehisi Coates conversation.
Oh my God, we can't. We're already at 7 minutes. Another day.
Sorry. Secret third option, and not actually an option. It was
Monday.
just on the table. Monday.
Yeah.
But to get back to the government shutdown, I think what is so just like illuminating about where we are right now, and I get it. People are exhausted. I am exhausted. I am tired of having to keep up with all the headlines. How many people are going to be impacted? What are the new SNAP regulations going to be in my state? Who's going to be cut off from SNAP benefits? And then to watch our government shut down and push a notification calling it the radical left from a HUD, like red notification that was on their website, is not only irresponsible, but it also just shows that everyday Americans, I think, no matter what side of the aisle you are on, can open up your eyes and see that we are not living in an era of government transparency. We also have just so many bold-faced lies that people are trying to tell us and treat them as if they are the truth. The government is not shutting down because of the Democrats. Republicans didn't even show up yesterday. And so I think it behooves me for anyone to see this government shutdown as nothing more than what gives me hope. The Democrats finally growing a fucking spine and saying, you know what, we're not just going to like kowtow to the big, beautiful bill or and the continuing resolution, same thing. But we're going to actually say we cannot allow American healthcare to be held hostage by these Republican like billionaire bootlickers who really just want to defund the American government so that they can give bigger tax breaks to their billionaire buddies. And that is, at the end of the day, exactly what they are doing. No one is asking for healthcare premiums to be increased by more than 114%. No one is asking SNAP to be defunded. No one is asking Medicare to be Medicare and Medicaid to be defunded. And yet it is happening. And finally, the Democrats have found a way, even with their astonishing lack of leadership and vision and any type of clarity for what they're going to be moving towards in the future, which we'll talk about in another episode, about what we have for a sparkling vision of where Democrats could go, are finally saying, you know what, let's not play into this game. And they can try to blame it on Democrats. But again, we're not in the presidency. We are not leading Congress, and we are not leading the Senate. So you cannot put this on us. And you are going to have to come to the table with us with a funding bill that does not throw millions of Americans under the bus. These are your grandmamas. These are your states. These are your southern states where you have Republican majorities, and where you have congressional people who are going to have to go and face their constituencies and justify why they were going to take away billions of dollars from healthcare and SNAP. And I don't think they want to do that.
And can I just say really quickly before I kick it back to you to wrap, sometimes when we say that, and I'm sure the people that I'm addressing have actually probably already logged off, but when Tiara and I come on here, we recognize that within the Midas universe in particular, we are some of the most likely to be critical of Democratic leadership. And often we will get comments because I read the videos and they are almost all so nice. Thank you all so much for being here. And I like to check and see if there are things that aren't clicking for people or anything else. And probably the number one critical comment that we get is some version of, we don't both sides on the Midas Touch Network. This both sidism is not welcome here. It is not both sidism to point out that Dem leadership is dropping the ball. And it is in fact the biggest fan behavior of all time. Tiara lives in New England. I used to live in New England. And if you had Patriots fans watching a coach fuck up this constantly in the Super Bowl for democracy, it is not critical, like both sidism behavior to say, get that coach out of here and promote people who are resonating with the general public. And that's often, mentioned as Zohran Mamdani. But I would say that at the federal level, there's even more obvious, really impactful and important people doing the work, whether that's, I'm a huge Summer Lee fan. I love people that have been around I love Ilhan Omar. I really, really like John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. I think are doing incredible work on messaging. And it makes sense that these people are doing that work because they are all from non-bubble states, right? Like the Georgia senators, Summer Lee is from Pennsylvania. Ilhan, a little bit, she's from a very safely blue district, as is, I believe, Summer Lee, but they understand the messaging here. And the average person is really disappointed in the Democratic Party right now. And we are too, but we are also fans of the Democratic Party and asking them to get a better fucking coach. So let me kick it back to you to wrap, and then we'll talk. Actually, I think we can, do you have anything else you want to jump in on there? I'm like, that's nicely.
Yeah, that gives me hope. We are holding our party accountable because we love our party. We are holding our country accountable to Americans because we love our country. We are patriots. We are Democrats. And that is the optimism that I have, is that our deep love and our deep level of accountability comes from a place of faith, hope, and belief that we can and should be doing better.
So we are Democrats, we are patriots, and we are on Legal AF, the Midas Touch Network. So you can subscribe, and follow along, and we will see you soon, Praggies.
Bye, Praggies.
Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.